Okay, last week we talked about raycasting, invoke repeating methods, and what else? We talked about something different. What did we talk about last week? You don't remember, right? Yes, player prefs, exactly. We talk about player prefs and we talk about prefabs. Player prefs we are going to use it for storing data, some primitive data, which is string, float, or integer data. And we also had prefabs. Prefab simply means you can modify a game object, you can add script or whatever you have. And after that, you can save this. Then this can be used by someone else or you can use it later. And we also talk about instantiate method. So we can real time, we can call these prefabs and we can produce clone of them. And then we don't have to put them in hierarchy. In real time, we can call them. Okay, this is the game. Again, we are going to use it. We will have high score and score. We will have background sound, music. And even if you die, and your background music will continue playing. Ders iptal. Okay, this game is over. So this is the game we are going to make. And of course, first of all, we will create a new project, Unity. So here we have steps. And first of all, we will collect crystal or adding score and adding high score, particle effect. When you collect things, there will be a simple visual effect. And then we're going to restart game and create background music loop and a camera follow. You saw that the camera can follow the player, right? And then after we finish them, we will procedurally create a map. As you play, you're going to see map. This is good for mobile environment because otherwise it will consume a huge amount of memory for GPU, right? And then CPU. And then we also talk about touch input. I think this can be done in any case before midterm because there's no midterm at all. So we're going to finish them. And if we have time, we are going to deploy them to mobile device, which will be an Android. And then we are going to make them APK, and the APK is going to be run in your smartphone. So game programming, quick, number 6. By the way, we don't have sound file for last week video. The reason is because I forgot to open this microphone. Now it's working. I'm going to make it again, like record it maybe or duplicate something, some sound after that. But no, you don't have to worry about this because you have plenty of time to think about that, right? It's a 3 weeks vacation or holiday. So, but before the game, we need to download something. We had a character. We cannot create this model. You can, but you need a team. You're going to be developer. Someone is going to make this 3D model. Someone else is going to make the animation. And so you need a team. But here we are going to just download them and use them in our project. I'm going to tell you how to download them and which. This is a free aspect, normal game view, but if you want to run this project in your smartphone, you need to know the dimension or the resolution of your screen so that you can set your screen accordingly. So here we have free aspect. We talked about this last week. So we have 5 by 4. These are default, and you can create your own. You can give width and height value, and this is for smartphone, which is 1080, which is the width of your smartphone, and 1220, 920. This will be the height of your screen. So after you set this screen, you can simply arrange your object in your scene view. So let's first of all go to this asset store, and I'm offline. and I have to be online for these. So restart. It will not refresh it, so just close this tab or reload this tab. It must refresh it. It didn't. Again, asset store. So now we are going to see the asset store. Again, I'm going to put them in your assets folder. We have stone texture, Super Cyan, this is our 3D model, and then stylized character. Let's first of all download this character, Super Cyan. This is totally free. Here, this one. It includes model and animation and textures. Just, you're going to see download button. Since I already download them, I just only see import. Just import it. And then here you have so many things and import it. And then don't worry about this. And then again, here, stylized crystal. This will be our coins or awards. And we collect them, you're going to get some score. Import, then import it. Then finally, we'll have stone texture. I'm going to use this to change the texture of my stone. You can use any of them. There are so many free versions. But the thing is, your texture should be tileable, which means if we add two stones, like side by side, the texture should be seamless. There will be no connection. Yani tileable demek şu aslında. İki tane bloğu yan yana getirdiğiniz zaman, texture'ları eklediğiniz zaman, dokuları, bu ikisini yan yana getirdiğiniz zaman arada bir geçiş olmuyor. Bir çizgi olmayacak. O yüzden tileable. Birinin bittiği yerde, birinin başlama yeri aynı olacağı için dokularda anlatacağım biraz sonra. So this is quite good. And this is also good. We can choose any of them. Import it. Then. So now we download all the things. We can close this asset store and go to scene view simply. And what is wrong with this? So create empty. Just simply empty here. Call this walls. And then put in this origin at the center. This is always good. And then 3D object, create a cube here. And then this is your wall, a block, or simply say wall. We have so many of them. Go to this stone tech floor and then choose this one again, drag and drop here. It is going to create a texture. Not only texture, it's going to create a material here. So that is material. In this material, so far we didn't have albedo. We only had a color, you remember, right? But now we will have albedo. Albedo is simply allow you to put any texture here. So you have metallic, you have normal map, height map, occlusion. These things are actually very important for games. If you want to have a realistic texture, for example, you want to make a fake height and depth, you can use them. Or if you want to compute, you want to reflect realistic lighting, you have to have a normal map. These are actually channels, texture channels. But again, this is out of our scope. We don't use this for own programming. If you're interested in gaming, you have to know them. If you increase the metallic, it will be more metallic. So if this will be more non-metallic here. So here you see the reflection is quite high. Anyway, this is not important here. This is the view, take a look at here. And then I want to make this orthographic game. The projection should be orthographic because I don't want to make it perspective. Perspective means if something closer to you, it is it's bigger. If it's far away, it was smaller. I don't want this one. I just want to make it orthographic. So it will be like a 2D game or 2.5D game, something like this. Here. I want to rotate this 45 degrees so that it will look like something like this. So I want to rotate my camera So I can look from the little bit top, something like this maybe. I think 40 degree will be, 30 degree will be good. And then put this camera a little bit down here or up, and then object will come here. An object small for me, I want to make it bigger, so the size of camera could be smaller, and then you can set them manually simply. And this is quite good. Maybe X is here. So this is our block, and I want to put my player, or maybe I can add more cubes here. So to do that, I have to just simply say control, what's wrong with this? It's 2D, make it 3D here again, F. So control D, it will duplicate the wall, and then control shift, it will move like 1 unit. Or so here, take a look at nothing at all, no line nor seam here. That's why we are using this texture. So there is, it's very small line here, but it's totally okay. So I can simply make it tileable, make it as long as I want. So control D, duplicate, control shift, it will move it here. And then control D, it's duplicated one, and control shift it here. So you can just do it whatever you want. But this is for the beginning. Later on, we are going to make them automatically. So control D, control shift, and this is the thing. And I want to put the player on it, and then go to assets here. We had a super cyan character, and here we have prefabs, of course. Prefab is modified game object, and here and simple movement here. It will have some animation. And this is a mobile game. There's a high quality. This is for desktop, maybe, or for tablet PC, and this is for mobile. And drag and drop here, you're going to have the player. And I want to rotate this 45 degree as well, because it must move in that same direction. So 0 and then 0. I don't want to touch Y, because if I change it, it will go down or up. So now this value is quite good. And call this player. I want to make sure it's working or not. Okay, this is working. And then play the game. So if I WASD, then it will move and come back, and then jump, and then die. So these are done by someone else. They code it, they put animations, they put state machine, but I don't want them, because we want to learn it. We want to know how to make them. So simply remove all the codes here. Okay. This is the code done by people who made this, but we are not going to use them. And then remove component, and then remove the component. I don't want animator here. And then I want to save my player like this, and then drag and drop here. It will be my own, and this will be original. I don't want to change the previous the player character, so it will be original player prefab. I can add my code here. So anyway. So we have to make it move. How? And we're going to use some methods, translate and rotate. And this game will be very simple. We are going to move, and then automatically, it is going to automatically move. And if the object comes here, I want to rotate it something like this, and then rotate it 90 degree, and then move it like this, and then rotate it 90 degree. Sorry, this. And then go like this. This will be the game simply. So of course we have to write code here, say player controller, and then here I have to move it. So the player has the transform component, right? And then I can simply say that transform the position. Okay, I need to apply a vector. In which direction? The forward direction of this, so Z direction of the object in each frame. So simply transform the position is equal to transform.forward. The forward means 0, 0, 1 of the player object. Okay, I applied this one, and I want to multiply it by time delta time. Otherwise, the object will move 1 unit per frame, which means the update is called around 50 times to 60 times or 40 times. So that the object will move 40 units per second. This is not what I want. I want to move 1 unit per second or 5 units per second. So I have to multiply this by time delta time. And if you want to have a control mechanism, you simply can say that maybe public float move speed. You can set this later. So make it, for example, 2, and that is float value. You don't have to write if it's exact number, if it's not float number, but it's okay. So time delta time times move speed. And then let's run these. Project. It's working. So it is moving. I can do the same using different function, and this is called translate method. Transform.translate, and moves the transform in the direction and distance of translation. Okay, but here we need to give translation vector. Translation vector is actually simply in z-axis. This should be global. You cannot say transform forward here. You can say new vector 3, and the blue axis is here z-axis, so it should be 0, 0, 1, right? And then 0, 0, 1. You can do the same. You can multiply these things. It will give you the same result. You can choose any of them. Okay, that is the method one. That is the more like you're adding the position. You're adding one vector to the position vector, and both are okay. So I want to rotate it also. If I press space, it should rotate, otherwise it will just fall. If it comes here, I just want to press space to rotate it left, and if it comes here, I want to rotate it right. But first of all, let's see it before writing codes. So take a look at the rotation is, the degree is 45. Now that degree, it should be around minus 45, right? So what is the angle, rotation angle? It's minus 90, because it was 45, now it's minus 45. So I add minus 90 degree in order to rotate it, right? So again, do it here. And this time, the angle will be 45. Something like this. I don't know, it's hard to see it, but it should be 45. Yeah, so we know the 45 and minus 45. So if the object is looking right, then the angle will be 90, 45, 90 minus 90. If it's looking left, means like this one, this is looking left, and that is looking right, according to the camera, of course. Now it's looking left, and that is looking right. So I can simply change this here. To do this, I need to have a Boolean value. So Boolean looking right. The object is looking right, so this is the true default value, because now in the camera's perspective, okay, the object is looking right. Yani sağa doğru bakıyor gibi değil mi? Ortayı düşünürseniz sağa bakıyormuş gibi duruyor şu anda. Tamam mı arkadaşlar burası? Sağa bakıyor gibi anlaşılıyor herhalde. Okay, so I can simply say that here. If looking right, then I should rotate it. Transform.rotate. I have another method called rotate method. Then it will tell you the Euler angle. And again, this is rotation vector. So the rotation vector is simple. I don't want to touch x and z. I need to just only change the y. So if it's looking right, I should say new vector 3 and then 0, tell me, minus 90 and then 0 here. That's all. Else plus 90 degree. And here Of course, state is changed. So looking right is equal to not looking right. So if it's true, then it's going to be false, and next time it will call this one, and next time it will call that one. So each pressing space will call different method. So let's play the game here. Oh, what's wrong with this? Wait. What did I do? Okay, I had to put a space button here. Sorry for this. If input get key down and key code space, then I can say turn. So it must call that method, and then in this method I will have this one, right? So now it must work. Okay, it's working, you see. So next step is adding high score and scoring. Let's add some high scoring. Any question here? No question. So now we know translate and rotate methods. And please, when you go home, take a look at these methods in detail, because it is overloaded so many times. You can use different version of them.
So what's the difference between transform and
Translate.
no, and rigid body? When we say
Okay, if you don't have rigid body, how can you use it? How can you move your object? Object does not have to have rigid body. Rigid body is for physical simulation, for realistic, for example, for gravity, or for other things. But maybe in your game you don't need rigid body. At that time you have to use transform. But for rigid body, of course, you can have rigid body.move. There are so many methods you can use of them, but it depends on your game type. You can move with your object by using rigid body. You can apply a force, or you can set a velocity, or you can use rigid body.move. But it depends on your game. Later on, I'm going to talk about the others, but I'm talking step by step. So this is the thing, and it's moving now. Let's add a scoring system. To do this, I want to have a canvas. If I add text, it will automatically create a canvas for me. And go to this scene view, and this is the phone screen. And then put it 0, 0. You don't have to put the top left, but it depends on, it's generally people they're putting on the left side. So say high score and make it, for example, 20, and then bold. And then maybe we can make it this reddish color. So this will be score, high score, and the other Control D here, that will be score value. And then Control D, and then this time let's put this here, and then 0, then call them high score text, and then score text. And then I need to make it that much width. So let's make it on a 3. The width could be 3. So this will be enough for us. Maybe for high score and score, width could be 120. And this is enough. And you see the text are very small. You can fix this. You have a canvas here, and we have scale factor. You can simply use the scale factor. You can make it bigger. So I think this is quite good. So I'll put them here. Okay, just choose them all. And then this will be quite good. So now we can set the background. We don't like this background. So I had a assets folder here. I'm going to share this with you. Here I have background, and drag this and drop here. So I have one canvas, and canvas is in front of my blocks, right? In the walls. So if I add a texture here, that will cover my area. But I want to put this background, this image as background. How can I do that? I can add one more canvas. So UI and then canvas. And for these canvas, I can simply change this render mode. Screen space overlay to screen space camera. And it will require camera and put the camera here. And under this canvas, I can create a UI and then say image. And for the image, it requires a sprite and then select this one, make it sprite and then apply. Now it's ready to use. So drag this and drop here and you see nothing. Why? Because it's too small. You need to make it bigger. Can I use this simply like this? Yes. So if you just change this scale factor, you can set your background like this. And now I want to show you what's happening here. Well, this is your camera, right? And that is your game view here. Camera is looking at the direction. And this is your canvas. This is your picture here. So the distance is fixed. And your camera is going to move all the time. So these will always remain in background. So it will not affect your blocks. So can you see this clearly? Your camera, your game area, and then your picture here. So it's projected here simply. So now it's done. The background is done. So, and the next thing is collecting crystal. Okay, let's write a method for them, adding high score and collecting crystals for this. Go to this player character controller and here. I need to collect some diamonds or whatever, or crystals. Let me first of all add a crystal somewhere, simply in the wall 2, for example, here. Go to this crystal and then prefab and then drag and drop it here. And this is block number 2. I want to add this crystal under this block number 2. It will be part of it. Okay, call this crystal. And I want to tag them, this crystal. The reason is because, and then drag and, okay, I want to modify this because I don't need this animator in this crystal, and then remove component. And then I want to save it. And then original prefab. Then go to this open prefab. Let's change the tag. So we are going to label them, tag them. And based on this tag, if there's a trigger, if there's a like collision, and the player will going to make a score. And then call add tag and call it crystal. Save it. And please make sure that you add them. Now you created tag, but you didn't add it. Now here, tag, and then crystal. Now your all object like this, like this one crystal will have this crystal tag. Okay, good. So again, I made a mistake. I forgot to do something. I had to add a collider, right? Otherwise you cannot collide with that one. And then I want to put a trigger. Why? Because I don't want to collide. I want to just go through. So if I just touch it, I will go through it, or I will just want to modify it. Otherwise it will just collide. This is not a good idea. Okay. Now my crystal has this collider, but I didn't like this rotation. I had to make it 0 here. Of course, 0 here. This is quite good. This is nice, not bad. But the position is not really good, like this. And I want to make this change overrides, and this is okay too. Okay, now this is fine. So let's write some code in player object. So on trigger enter. Simple. If other is a crystal, right? If the tag of other is equal to crystal, Then I can make score. Yani çarptığım şeye, değdiğim şey kristalse skor yapacağım değil mi? Then make score. Maybe I can simply say destroy other.game object. It will destroy this crystal. And after maybe 1 second or immediately. So in the make score, then score plus plus, then I had to have, first of all, integer score and then high score. And plus I need to have public text high score text and then score text. Then this should be, we have to add this library Unity Engine UI and simply score plus plus, and if the score is greater than our high score, greater or equal than high score. No, it's greater than high score. And then score is going to be high score. Sorry, high score will be new score. So it is okay, right? And then I have to write them score.txt text is equal to score to string. And this is done last week. We made them last week, so no problem here. And the high score text is equal to high score to string. And maybe you want to save them in memory, even if we just shut down our game and then restart the game. Player prefs, then set integer, and I have to give the label for this. It will be a high score, for example, and then save the high score value. Now we saved it. When you load the game, we can simply say load high score. Start the game, and to do this, what should we do here? And then high score txt.text is going to be, first of all we have to get high score value is equal to what? Player prefs, then get integer. What was the key I put? I think it was this one, right? No. Here, high score. So I made a mistake. This should be high score. I got the value. Now it's time to put right on the screen. Now this is done. We load the score. Okay, I think we're done. Let's see what's happening here. And before this, let me set these things here. High score, and then score. And then play the game. Looks like it's working. So the scoring system is working, it's destroying, but no animation at all. We are going to add animation, of course. But any questions so far? No question? Okay, score is done. Maybe you want to have an animation here, simple, not animation, some effect, particle effects here. And let's right click here, effects, and then particle system here, and go to scene view here and reset this. So maybe we don't have to reset this because we have to set so many things here. Just put this 0 and 0 and 0. Maybe a little bit here. I can rotate this 90 degree. Rotation is totally fine. I don't want to worry about this. So here, this is the particle system. We can make fire. We can make a like foam. We can make so other things using this one. So let's create one. Of course, we can use some effects made by someone else, but this is the way for starting. So here we have looping. If you remove looping, it will play one single time and for 5 seconds. If we make it one the duration, this time it will play it for 1 single second. And keep looping here. And then we have some parameters here. We have pre-warm, start delay, I don't want delay. And start lifetime is 5 seconds, which means each single particle here will have 5-second life. I want to make it 1 second. And then if I remove loop, you're going to see that it is going to create 1 single second, and each have 1 single second life. So then start speed is 5, you can change it. And then start size is 1. If you make it loop again here, if I change the speed, it will move faster. And if I change this start size, it will be bigger. But let's make it 1 again. You can change this start rotation, but now we don't want to touch it. You can flip the rotation. Start color. Start color is good for us. I can change the start color of the object like this, but I don't want one single color because it is 2 color. I want to make a random between 2 colors. And here, let's pick this red color, and for the second color, let's pick this blue color. So it is going to randomize them. So blend each other, and it's going to create the effect color like the color of this crystal. You can set the gravity modifier like this. This is quite, it looks really cool. 0, and if you make it -1, it will just move faster up. So I don't want to touch them all. There are so many, you can play with them later on, but the play on awake is going to play automatically. Max particle is 1000, you can make it 100, it will make less, produce less particle. And then stop action you can set, but now we don't need. You have emission, and I want to make it 0, but I want to add some burst, like sudden kind of creation of object. If I press plus here, it is going to make burst here, and this is really good. You can use this kind of things. You can increase number of objects. If you make it 10, it will produce only 10 of them. And cycle is for looping, it doesn't matter. It will just create so many times. If I make it 2, but now we are looping, it will have no effect here. So interval, you can change this interval here simply like this one, or making this one. It will produce more frequently. This is the last one. So you can change the shape of the object. So this is huge. I want to make it like smaller, and then put this like this. This looks okay. We can make it faster, move it faster. Start speed, let's make it 5. But again, here we can use this kind of thing. This is totally fine. So velocity, you can set the velocity over time, so it can move faster or smaller. And for example, in y-axis, you can increase it, or this. And limit velocity over lifetime, and then inherit velocity force over lifetime, color over lifetime. We can use this one. This is quite good, and I can simply make it more transparent. You see, it's here opaque, and he's becoming more transparent. Okay, now it's much better, right? Looks better. So color by speed, color, you can change color by speed, size by speed, noise, or some other things. But again, this is enough for us for now. And let's call this effect. And then, what if I reset this one? Okay, this is quite good. I don't want to reset this. So drag and drop here. So we are going to use it in our game, and we don't need this anymore. And then let's use this effect here. Public particle effect or particle system, I guess. Call this effect or effect prefab. And I'm going to use instantiate method to clone these. So when, of course, when I make score here, right? Or I triggered. So instantiate effect prefab, and then I can give the position, or I can make it parent of something. If I make it parent of this player object, simply say player or transform. That will be attached to my player object because it's a parent. The player will be parent of that object and it will move together. Ya basitçe ikinci parametre transform verdiğim zaman buradaki transform yani player bunun parent olacak. O da ona bağlı olacak. Efekt onun bir parçası olacak. Onun altında oluşturulacak. So I can simply say variable effect. The thing is, this is local, so I can use a variable here in C#, as I told you before, or you can say particle effect. These are same. But again, this is local variable, so I want to put a variable here. And I want to destroy this effect after 1 second. And see what's happening. Okay, there's a problem. I didn't assign this effect prefab. And drag and drop effect prefab here, and then play it. Okay, it looks like this is weird. I don't want to touch it. This is not a good idea. Maybe we don't want to use this. I can set the position here. Let me check. Position, rotation, and parent. This is not a good idea. Maybe this is better. Let's choose this. Position should be other dot, maybe position. I can create in the same position of this crystal. And then rotation, I don't care about rotation, so make it identity. And now let's see what's happening. Okay, what happened? I don't know. This is weird. Let me just draw them, remove them all here. I'll fix this later. Don't worry about this. Okay, we can fix this later on. But now let's jump to the other things. Now we know how to create effect. We know how to create them. I think I should do something here. Make it 0, 0. And then, sorry, this is good. Make this 0. And it must create the crystal in which position? I can say this probably effect dot position or transform position is going to be other dot position. This is also possible. And let me check. Okay, now it's working. So I set the position of these. So the position of the effect will be the position of the crystal here. So now it is going to work. It will create the effect on the same location of the crystal. Yani oluşturulacak olan efekt tam kristalin olduğu konumda. Tamam mı? Burada hata olmadı. Demin yazdık farklı yerlerde oluşturuyordu ya. Şu anda tam kristalin olduğu yerde bir efekt oluşturdu. Amacımız buydu. Tamam, burada sıkıntı yok herhalde. So this is okay. I think on trigger is done. Make score is working, is saving and loading, and it's working. Now what else we should to do? This is done, and this is done. Okay, now let's start the game and restart the game. How can we make this kind of things? And I didn't add animations. Now it's time to talk about animation and things. Let's first of all create animations for the player. And here I have to add animator. That is going to contain another component. It's going to contain controller. Controller is going to be a kind of simple state machine. You know from automata theory, state machines, right? You have finite state machines. In these state machines, you have transitions. And we are going to set these transitions by simply changing from one state to another one. Okay? But to do that, I have to have a controller. So call it animation controller. Call anim controller. And drag and drop this here. And you have avatar. Avatar is simply the body shape of your object so that it is going to fit the animation based on this. Otherwise, if the avatar is not set, then you cannot set your animation to your object. And choose this one. This is done, it's given by this model. If you create any avatar or like humanoid avatar in Blender or 3ds Max, you're going to have this pose avatar. Okay, so now I can go inside our animator controller. Again, this is state machine, simple state machine. You have any state and enter state. Any state means, for example, if you die if you want to switch to state from any kind of state, then you have to use this one. But we will have state, and this is the default state, an entry state. And I have to add state. For example, idle is a state. Running is state, falling is state, jumping is another state. In this game, we will have each state, we will have one animation, and we have to switch between them. For example, if I jump it, it will set or it will trigger the jumping animation. Basitçe şu, hangi durumdaysanız onun animasyonu yaratmak istiyorsunuz ya, o her bir animasyon bir durum oluyor ve durumlar arası geçiş yapmanız gerekiyor. Tamam. Onun için bu animation controller'ımız var. First of all, let's create state and empty state. By the way, this orange means default state, and call this idle. An idle state means, you know, you play some Counter-Strike games, like do something like this, or in fight game you do this one. These are idle state. You're waiting for something, no action. So this is idle state, and here we have motion from the object, and we have so many motions, and they're provided by this player object. If you go Super Cyan here, and if you go animations, you're going to see them all here, backward, for example, and jump down, and maybe waving, this kind of things, or maybe, I don't know, you can walk it here. So we are going to use these things. So for idle, we have motion called idle here. If you press this one, that is idle here. It is idling. It's hard to see, but it's moving here. Another one is called empty, and let's have run. And one more. This will be fall or die. Sorry, I made a mistake. This is fall. Okay, when I idle, if I start the game, the object should run, right? And if it's running, if you die or someone, you should fall. But we have conditions for them. Right click here, create state, or make a transition. You can have a transition here. Okay, from idle to run. What should I do? Maybe I need to have a trigger. If the game started, it can run. To do that, I have parameters. Go here in parameter section, plus, and add trigger, say game started. And if this trigger is done, it will stop moving this animation, playing this animation, it will just go here. But for each animation I have wait time. I don't want to have an or exit time. because exit time means it must wait until it's just playing the animation. I don't want this wait. If the transition is done, I want to just switch from one animation to another one. So no exit time. Make it 0, and then after this, put this run. So this is done, and it will automatically run this one. There's no waiting time here or exit time here. Again, when you run and you fall, what should we do? What kind of things or trigger I have to have here? First of all, simply falling. So falling. If falling is done, means I have to just run falling animation. So falling animation could be maybe this one. And for running, I want to have this animation, running animation, simply. For running, I will have this one, and for falling, I will have that one. I think this is quite good for falling. So this transition is, again, falling and plus, and falling here in this game started, put condition here, and game started here. I can simply add conditions here. No exit time at all, and put this here, and this is the end of this animation, then this is again repeating, but put it here. Run is done, and after that, fall is starting here. So the animations are done. The only thing we need to do is we have to set this by coding, triggering this one. How can we do that? We have animator component, we can simply program this. So let's create an empty object, call this game manager, and have game manager. In this game manager, I will have start game and restart game, two methods. So I don't need update. Public void start. I don't need to make it public, just void start game. Start game simply is going to make it Boolean game started. Okay, here is game started is true. And I want to call this start game in this start method. So it will automatically start. Or you can even call invoke methods, and you can start game after 2 to 3 seconds, maybe. It depends on you. Maybe we can start game after 1 second. So I need to have another method, public void restart game, or say load first of all, and scene management, scene manager, manager, I don't remember, scene manager, load scene. Okay, scene manager. Yanlış yazdım zaten. Scene manager olması uzun, zaten kısa olması gerekiyordu. Okay, I have this one, and I want to call this load scene simply because load is done by Unity, and this should be void. And then say public void restart game. In the restart game, I can say invoke. Let's say you're dying, and then after 1 second you can restart the game, and this time you can call invoke method. So restart invoke load scene after 1 second. Again, this does not have to be public because this is actually private, and this is going to be called later in a player control things. So now let's do something here. if in the update method, if I need to have a game manager because I want to know if the game is not started, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to translate, I don't want to move. So I have to have a component here, public game manager, and call this game manager. And in this game manager, I need to get this. How can I get this? I don't want to make it public because I sometimes forget to add them. It will just make null exception. So there are so many ways to get this object or access this object, which is in hierarchy. Simply, game managers is equal to find object of type. I can find object by type. What is type? Game manager. So this is simply going to visit, search all among them and take a look at this component. No game manager. Skip it and skip it, that and come here. Okay, it has a game manager and it is going to take this one. Okay, it is going to find that object by time. Or you can simply use this one, game object dot find. If you say this one and say the name game manager, you can simply get it. And this is game object, by the way. You have to get component. What component? The game manager component. Bunu anlatacağım Türkçe. Şimdi arkadaşlar Unity'nin mantığı şaşmıyor. Ne kadar uzun olsa da basit. Etikete göre bulabilirsiniz, ismine göre bulabilirsiniz, herhangi bir şeye göre. Şimdi biz burada komponent almak zorundayız. Neden? Çünkü var o obje. Yani o obje var, biz oluşturmuyoruz sıfırdan. Alıyoruz değil mi bir yerden? Mesela bu Game Manager burada var. Ben bu referans almak istiyorum. Daha doğrusu şuradaki referans onun için. Onu almak için. Oradaki verilere ulaşmak için veya değiştirmek için. Doğru mu? Şimdi buraya geldiğim zaman diyorum ki Game Obje, da bunun da gerek olmayabilir, emin değilim. Kaldırmışlardan sonra ama duruyor mu? Tamam, kaldırmamışlar, duruyor. Diyelim ki bul. Neyi bulayım? İsme göre. Game Manager isminde bir objeyi bul. Geldi buraya. Burada buldu. İsmi Game Manager olan bir obje buldu. İsmi burada var zaten yukarıda. Bu dönüş tipi ne? Bunun Game Obje. Ben bunun Game Objesini istemiyorum. Ben bunun komponentini istiyorum. Game Manager. Çünkü tipim bu. Bu tipte bir bileşen istiyorum. Ve get component diyorum. Game Manager diyorum. Bu şekilde o komponenti bana veriyor. Tamam mı arkadaşlar? Farklı şekilde yapılabilir. 50 farklı şekilde. Şu şekilde de bulabilirsiniz. Find object of type diyor. Game Manager tipine obje tipinde olduğu için bulabilirsiniz. Bu şekilde. Hatta şöyle bir şey de yapabilirsiniz. Çok uğraşırsanız bu da olur. Bunun sınırı yok. Bir daha alabilirsin. Ama bu şu demektir. Game Manager tipinde bir objeyi bul ve o atamayı yap. Gidecektir. Buna ulaşacaktır ve buradaki kodu alacaktır. Amacımız bu. So here I can simply say that if game manager game started, if this is not true, which means it's false, then return. I don't have to move it. And let me check. Let me check here. Let's make this false. It should idle. Play the game. You see? Now it's idling here. It's waiting. And go to the player and choose this animation here. It's idling now. Because this is not triggered. Game started, it's not true. So if I make it true, it must work. Then, if it's true, it will immediately, maybe it will wait 1 second and after that it's call it. Take a look at 1 second and starting. So you understand, because we use invoke method. Invoke metodunda ne yaptık? Dedik ki o start game metodunu bir saniye sonra çalıştır. Bir saniye böyle bir idle olacak. Ondan sonra ilerleyecek. Now it's time to talk about the other things. When should I walk? It should run actually. Okay. If this is not the case, I can say that animator set trigger like game started, because I have to just set these things. I need to have animator. And this animator is a component of this player. Here, I need to have this controller. So simply, I can say that anim is equal to get component animator. And here, if the game is started, which means the player should run. Is that true? Then anim.set trigger, that's the method, and call it game started. If I do this, it will trigger this condition like this, and it will run, it play this animation, run animation here. Let's see what's happening here. Now it's working. Okay. I'm going to do one more thing, and after that we will have a break. Okay. I want to add a falling animation. So how can I check whether it's falling or not? I can use raycasting for this. If there's nothing under the object, then I can say that it's falling. The game is over. I can restart the game. Okay, here, in here maybe I can say in update method, check falling. Then here I can simply say that if input, not input, physics raycast, and then I have to give the origin of ray and the direction of ray so that we can do something. So take a look at this player here in scene. This is the, by the way, it's pivot, which is the origin of this object, is here, down here. This is dangerous. If the origin is here, then it might not intersect with this block. It could be inside the block, so there will be no ray casting. And I want to make it, put the ray here, so the ray is going to be created here, and then the ray is going to just go down here. Buradaki problem şu arkadaşlar. Eğer ray'in orijini ben player origin olarak verirsem sıkıntı çıkacak. Çünkü bu çok aşağıda. Işın bloğun içerisinde başlayabilir. Başlarsa blokta kesişmeyebilir, algılanmayabilir. Dolayısıyla problem. O yüzden ben buraya yeni bir origin ekleyeceğim. This is dangerous to use this as a ray origin. Because if ray start here, it might not intersect with the block. It might be created inside the block. So I have to create a new, under this player, create an empty object and put it a little bit here and call this ray origin. And call the public transform and then ray origin. Then I have to take it. It doesn't work. Let me just finish this. Ray origin. And the direction is vector 3 and then down maybe, or 0, minus 1, 0. So new vector 3, 0, minus 1, 0. And okay, this is transform. Of course, the position of this must be done here. If there is nothing, if there's no intersection, which means there's nothing under the object, and then I can say that game is over, or restart the game. Simply game manager and then restart game. But before the restarting game, maybe I can change the animation. So anim.set trigger and call it the falling. And what else I can do? Nothing. Because restart game is going to load scene after 1 second, and during 1 second I will see the falling animation, right? Yani 1 saniye boyunca obje düşecek, ondan sonra oyun başlayacak. And then now see what's happening here. Okay, I forgot to add ray origin. And then ray origin is here. And play the game. Okay. Bayağı intihar oldu yani bu. Okay, this is the simple thing, and after the break, let's just continue. 15 minutes.